Good evening, everyone. Hey, it's Gina with Rise Up from Trauma Healing Strategies. How is everyone on this Monday evening? So, as you see from what I posted with my YouTube thumbnail, I kind of dropped the ball. And so what ended up happening was between the last couple of weeks, I have been working on the mental health conference that I am the founder of. And so as I started, changing speakers, adding speakers, we're doing the pre-conference portion of it. So I was adding the speaker thing, the whole thing that if you've ever planned an event, then you will understand exactly what I mean. There's a lot of work that goes into event planning. Anyway, I dropped the ball because I totally forgot to create all of the information for our guests that should have been on. So I'm just waiting. We will reschedule with him hopefully within the next couple of weeks. And so I wanted this just to be kind of an open discussion, where you can come on, you can ask questions, and just kind of goes back to, what I talked about a couple of weeks ago. We're getting into the winter months, for us anyway, from, part of the Midwest to the East Coast. We're getting into the winter months where it starts getting dark at 5 o'clock, and it starts getting cold. We can't get out and do the things that we want to do. Like a lot of people like to get out fishing, like they like to get out kayaking. I like to get out and walk. I love to get out and play football, and I could do that in the cold. And ice fishing, like Scott said, hell no to ice fishing. It's too darn cold, which absolutely it is. So what happens, in the winter, when we're so used to doing so many things. Good evening, Michael. Thank you for being here. In the winter time, when we're so used to doing things in the spring and summer and fall, like hiking and walking and playing football and fishing and kayaking and doing all the tournaments and all of that stuff. So what happens to our nervous system? What happens to us mentally? Not only just physically, but mentally. How do you take care of your mental health? So it kind of goes hand in hand with just not only, the winter months of, like I talked about, like I said, a couple weeks ago. But now we're starting to get into a lot of the holidays. We're starting to get into these seasons of Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. And so as we gear up and we're heading towards Thanksgiving here, what is it, next week, I believe. I thought it would be really good to do a live. So, kind of things work out in the way that they're supposed to. To kind of do a live on how to take care of yourself mentally and physically when you can't get outside much in the winter, and how to take care of yourself, how to prepare yourself on, when you go to family functions. Thanksgiving is coming up again, Christmas is coming up. What happens when you have a dysfunctional family? What happens when you go and they're the worst for me too, Scott. So I'm right there with you, buddy. So what happens when you show up at a family function? Your family's dysfunctional and you have somebody saying things to you and you're trying to set those boundaries and you don't say anything, you walk away. But then you come off as, snooty and, whatever else. And then, whatever else goes on. And so it's okay to walk away. It's okay to say no. A lot of people have a hard time saying no, and I was one of them. I used to always be the people pleaser. I was the scapegoat in my family. Everything was always passed to me, and I was always the one that took the brunt end of everything. And so learning to say no was a hard thing for me. I always people pleased, and so as we lead up into the holidays, for me, my family and Charles's, which him as Sly Fox, his family lives far from us. And so it's just, him and I and our kids and our grandbabies. And so I don't know if I want to say lucky or if I want to say blessed, because I don't know, but I'm just going to say blessed. I am blessed that I don't have to deal with the dysfunction of family right now. For some reason, it's interesting as I'm talking about this, like my stomach feels like, so that's how I know, like, the holidays and stuff like that. It's a very, very rough time for me. Um, and so what I want to offer to all of you is I want to offer some support. I want to offer compassion, empathy, kindness. And I want to offer you to be seen and heard. And so, if you do have to get together with your family over the holidays, and you are one of the ones that unfortunately your family's dysfunctional, or you don't know how to say no, or whatever, um, you're more than welcome to ask questions. And I would love to lead you into, not that we're coaching anything, but I'd like to lead you into how to take care of your mental health, how to take care of yourself mentally and physically. So when you go up against those types of things, when your nervous system becomes dysregulated, what to do. And so dysregulation, we've talked about this in the past. Dysregulation is a part of, the kind of like the trapped emotions. And so your nervous system, the body, the body keeps the score. So your nervous system, you get nervous, your heart, palpitates, it starts beating faster, your hands get sweaty, you just feel like a feeling, kind of like I'm feeling now. You may get dizzy, you might get sweaty, your hands might be cold, they might be warm. There's so many different things to it. And so, a lot of people know this, a lot of people don't know this. I hate Christmas. I love Christmas because that's, when Jesus was born and things like that. But on the flip side of it, I don't like Christmas. I put on this fake facade for my kids, and I pretend that I love Christmas. But if I could hibernate from like the first part of November into January, I would be the first to hibernate. So holidays, seasons, they're all very, very tough for me. And so, leading up to this, what I have to be careful of is, a lot of the triggering, a lot of the dysregulation. And so because of the things that I've endured, I have to take a step back and say, okay, is it my trauma self or is it my adult self, and kind of look at everything, because I don't want to spoil things for my children. I don't want to spoil things for my family. I definitely don't want to spoil things for myself and kind of keep going backwards when I'm trying to, go forwards and things like that too. And so for me, some of the things that I do, just to kind of help, self-care. I can't stress self-care practices enough. And so one of the things that I love, and it, we can be, older, younger, we can be out of shape, in shape, it doesn't even matter. But one thing that I really love to do is, you've heard me talk about trauma-informed movements an awful lot on here. And so I can recommend that to my clients, and I can recommend that to my viewers to say, hey, you know what, if you've endured trauma, chances are your prefrontal cortex isn't working, da 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 da. But when I have them go and do the trauma-informed movement, a lot of them are like, yeah, I just don't like it. I'm like, okay. So what I could recommend to you is that do dance party. Doesn't mean that you have to do dance party for, for 5-10 minutes. You can literally start off doing, setting boundaries. All right. We'll talk about that in just a minute, Scott. So dance party is when you just put on some music, you put on, whatever song, and you start belting out the tones. And here's why. Trauma survivors, a lot of times when they're in the fight or flight state, they start breathing heavily from up here. Because you never know when your next threat and your next danger is going to take place. And so when you do dance party, I like to call it that because it seems fun. So dance party, what you do is you just dance for a couple minutes. But as you're belting out the tunes to whatever song, whatever music you like, you're literally taking deep inhales. And so instead of, you're just using the top part of your lungs, you're literally filling all of your lung capacity. And so what that does is expand your lungs for growth and expansion. It's because if you don't continue to use the bottom part of your lungs, they will eventually not function properly. And so what better way? So not only are you increasing your lung capacity and you're growing your lungs, but you're moving. So during the movement, not only are you doing the movement to help with your prefrontal cortex to get it back re-engaged, but now what you're doing is you are reconnecting your mind and body, but you're literally releasing the trapped emotions from your body as you're doing the movements. And that's huge. Um, and so that's one thing I would recommend. Another thing I would recommend, um, if you journal, some people don't like journaling. Journaling is a wonderful thing to do, depending on what you want to journal. Um, you can journal just to get your thoughts, your feelings out on paper. They do say that if you get it out on paper, what ends up happening is it's less contained up here. It's on paper, and you have a couple options. You can either keep the notebook and look at your progress in 3, 6, 9, 12 months, or you can rip it up and throw it away. It's kind of like the leaf on the hand. So my hand is kind of a leaf, um, and what you're doing is you kind of take your thoughts from your mind, you put them on your hand, and you either flick them. Like this is the leaf, you flick it, or what you do is you push it like it's going down the river, and you just push it off, like as if it's just going and it's never coming back. Um, so there's a few different things you can do. Um, if you don't mind getting out in the cold and you can bundle up, you can go out and you can, walk for a few minutes, 5 minutes or so. Get you some heated gear. You can get like a heated jacket. Not that I want you to spend any extra money by any means. If you have that stuff, absolutely, it's great. A heated jacket, heated pants. There's a couple fishing people that we follow, my husband and I. Tweezy, I think his name is. And like he's got all this heated stuff. He's got heated socks, heated jacket, sweatshirts, sweatpants. He's got the whole 9 yards, man. So like if it's cold, there you go. Scott, I'm glad that you like journaling. Journaling is it really is. It's one of those things that people have a love-hate or a love relationship or a hate relationship with it. And so it's nice to see that you like doing it. I like it too, because uh, it really helps to get all of that stuff out. Yes, Tweezy, he's funny. And so it really does help to get all of that stuff off your mind. So, like I said, so dance party, journaling, walking. Um, if you like, I couldn't do these, but if you can do the cold baths, the ice baths or whatever they are, those are supposed to be really good. Not only are they good for your mental health, which I don't know, I've never tried it before, but it's actually good for any type of pain, anything. I'm thinking it like shocks your system back. I have no idea. I haven't tried it, but just a lot of people that I know have tried it said that there is a lot of beneficial factors to it, especially for your mental health. Um, picking up a hobby. What type of hobby can you do um, in the winter? Pick up a hobby. What is it that you can do? And self-care. Whether you're going down, especially if you live out in the mountains, obviously you probably can't get out a whole lot, especially if you get snow all the time. But what you could do is self-care doesn't just mean spending globs of money on doing things. It could mean going and getting your favorite coffee or cappuccino or whatever from your local coffee shop and just sitting there for a little while, sitting there by yourself. I always hated going out by myself. I never liked going to the movies, dinner, lunch, whatever, going out. And I think the older I got, I kind of appreciated being alone. Not that I like being alone, but being alone, just being able to go to the coffee shop and just sit. Sometimes I people watch, which, maybe that's a bad thing. But when it's warmer out, I do, I don't mind sitting and just watching, but you can sit and watch and just kind of gather your thoughts. When we're able to sit in the uncomfortableness of what's happening and listen to our bodies, we can really start getting a deeper, more inner healing of what's going on around us. Why is our body dysregulating? And so, just sitting with that uncomfortableness will teach you so much. Not that I want you to sit in it for hours, but just a couple minutes and see how you feel. You know, you can go and, you can walk around, um, maybe a Walmart or something like that, just to get you out of the house. There's all kinds of different things that you can do self-care wise. Um, if you like getting massages, if, again, I'm not wanting you to spend a whole lot of money, just making suggestions. Massages, if you go get a facial, there's places that will do they will do reflexology. You can do reflexology, which is a phenomenal thing as well. Um, is there anything else that you guys do for self-care? Anything? Anything else that you guys do? Anything? So for me, a lot of times what I do for my self-care, I'll usually go and grab like an iced chai tea latte. Is usually what I grab. Or obviously winter's coming, so chances are it's going to be hot. It won't be iced right now, but that's kind of what I like to do. I like really reading. A lot of times I'll read the Bible or things like that, or I'll just come out here and kind of in my office. Although, this is my office, I really shouldn't be here. Puzzles are good too. Yes, because puzzles make you concentrate. They take your mind off everything that's going around. And then you have puzzles. I forgot. Yeah, see, puzzles are a good thing too, Scott. That's a really good thing. And so what I'm doing now, and I talk about this. So puzzles, I like that. My daughter likes doing puzzles too. I'll definitely have to tell her we're gonna have to dig out her puzzle. And now that I got my office straightened around in here, and we have room to actually put a table up versus how it was before. Drawing is huge. I can't stress that enough. Even if you're just doodling in a coloring book, coloring. Anything that you can do to take your mind off thing and pass the time, I'm all for it. Today I was working on, this is Score, and this is probably going to look awful weird to you guys. But this is what I've been working on all day today. And so this is Score, and Score is in an algorithm. It's a neurographic algorithm, and it's a timeline. And so on the timeline, we are literally going from, I had to figure it out because you guys I got to figure it out. Okay. You're going from the past to the present to the future. And so this is what I've been working on all day. This is probably about, I'm going to say probably about 3 hours worth of neural lines, and just trying to get this drawing complete. And so this has just been, this is one of my favorites. I love this one. It's kind of instilling a lot of it's releasing the past of whatever you have going on. So drawing, journaling, puzzles, going and getting a coffee. Sorry, I froze for a minute. So puzzles, journaling, going and grabbing a coffee, getting a massage, any type of thing like that you can do to kind of help with your self-care would be really good. I don't know why my internet is like, it's going to drive me nuts. So I apologize if I am like kind of slow. I don't know why all of a sudden it went slow on me. So I apologize. Hopefully it's like, so I apologize. I don't know what's going on. Guess maybe the internet doesn't like the winter either. Well, that's perfectly fine too, and stuff. So those are things. I don't know. So my apologies. So I don't know. It was funny because I think Sly ended up pulling in the driveway. And as soon as he pulled in the driveway, and it's funny because we don't share the same internet. In my office, in the house, it's two different internets. And I'm just checking because it was just interesting because he pulled in the driveway and then boom. Yeah. Yeah. So when he pulled in the driveway, it was funny. My internet started going wonky. So it was just kind of funny. So I don't know, but here I am again. So I apologize. So what else? Is there anything else that you guys do for self-care in the winter, just to kind of take care of yourselves? Or if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat because I do want to be able to help everybody over the, over the holiday seasons, in the cool weather and the cold weather coming and things like that. So again, for me, I like to go to our coffee shop, order coffee, just sit. It's just nice and peaceful just to be able to sink into their comfy chairs, just drink my chai tea and not have to worry about anything. I like doing my neurographic art. I like coloring. I do like doodling. I like creating things. So I'm a creator. I like really getting on, and I use Canva a lot. So I really like to get, to get out and do that. Order lots of fishing gear, guilty pleasure. Uh-oh. So so um so do you have after you order, and you go in and you order it, Scott, not to put you on the spot, but do you ever say to yourself, man, I should probably go back in and call and have and cancel my order? or like, shopper's guilt, kind of like when we go shopping and all of a sudden, hi Sly Fox, all of a sudden, we're going shopping, we come out and we spent, we only wanted to spend $50 and we walk out with $300 worth of stuff. But, it's stuff that you probably could use. But now you're like, holy mackerel, I should probably go back in and return that. Oh, you don't? Yeah, see, then that's good. Then that means you don't have a problem. Because I think it goes back to whatever impulse, if you have an impulse shopping habit as a maladaptive coping skill, which is a negative coping skill, there's a lot of shopper's guilt. And the shopper's guilt, again, is when you go in and use money and then you go home and you're like, I probably should return that because I really didn't need that. So that's probably what it is. Welcome, Fly Fox. We are talking about self-care regimens that you do over the winter time. Yeah, I know, because we won't even go into that. He's probably has, why he doesn't feel bad is because he's constantly asking me, hey, honey, can I go buy this? Oh, honey, can I buy that? And I'm like, I don't care what you buy. So he probably figures, well, if I get permission, then it's okay. I'm giving him permission to go and buy whatever, right? I guess. So I'm like, it's fine. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have like a love-hate relationship with fishing stuff. It's one of those things that you guys do your fishing comparable to how I used to do jewelry. And so, yeah. Well, you do have a lot of fishing stuff. Maybe not as much as she does, but, nonetheless, you do have a lot. I mean, just ask him to show you pictures of the inside of his truck. We won't go on that story. That's another self-care regimen in itself that he needs to take care of. Yeah, you ain't buying a Bonafide, dude. You are not. No. We have things we have to take care of. So you're not buying that thing. It might be like 10 years from now before you buy that. So don't get started. So Sly Fox, what do you do in the wintertime for your self-care besides sitting and watching fishing? What else do you do? So tonight we're just having an open discussion on ways to help each other during the holidays, during the winter months, to kind of help us with our mental health, mental and physical health, especially our mental health does take a toll on each one of us. Especially trauma survivors, it takes a toll on. And why hunting is a good thing, yes, too. So I want to back up. Again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. I'd be more than happy to answer anything. Hi, Ariana. I'd be more than happy to answer anything for each and every one of you if you have a question, anything like that. But before I forget, if you guys will, usually you guys are pretty good about it. If you could like and share. You're not sharing. I've talked about this, even, I'm not doing this to get monetized or anything like that. What I love doing about this is there's so many trauma survivors out there. And I just, I would love to be able to get, more people to understand about the trauma community and the healing from PTSD, CPTSD. That if you're with the right person, whether it's a coach, a therapist, a counselor, a social worker, and so forth, if you're with the right person and you're doing, and it's consistent, and you're putting the time and effort, the determination into it, and you're really, excuse me, and you're really doing it the way that it's supposed to be, with the mind and body connection and things like that. Um, you will overcome the challenges and the obstacles that you face as a trauma survivor. And so that's really, really important, because most people are like, oh, I'll never be able to overcome these, or overcome this symptom or things like that. And so absolutely you can. So don't ever tell anybody, don't ever underestimate the power of healing, because again, it takes time, um, but it's small strides, small steps, and things like that. So what I want to go back to is Scott had mentioned something about boundaries. Um, Setting boundaries with people is my current project. So boundary setting is hard. I'll be one of the ones to tell you. Um, and so here's why. Sometimes boundary setting, if we were the scapegoat, if we were the people pleaser is where, you don't like the confrontations, and so you just kind of let people walk all over you because you don't like any of that type of stuff. I got to make a note right now. Hold on. Sorry. Okay. And so what ends up happening is boundaries is something that is very hard for trauma survivors. If your boundaries were violated, if you're a people pleaser, um, you can't use the word no. Those are all, we don't like I think the biggest thing is probably the confrontation. If you were the scapegoat of the family, if people just kind of spewed everything on you, that's the scapegoat, kind of like the black sheep, in a way. But so the scapegoat, everybody just kind of spewed all of their stuff all over you. You were blamed for everything, those types of things. And so boundaries happens when you start learning to love yourself. When you start learning to love yourself, value yourself, start appreciating yourself, showing yourself self-compassion, self-kindness, um, you know, learning to release the shame and guilt, learning to release the self-doubt, that's when the boundaries really can be put into place. Even if you're not at a place that you love yourself, if you can just say that you like yourself, um, it's looking and saying, if I were coming to you and I said such and such to you, um, so for instance, if I was your friend and I said to you, um, I'm going to put myself on the spot because I want you to see how you should treat yourself. So if I came to you and I said, yeah, I'm fat and ugly, how would you respond? And you can be honest. You won't hurt my feelings, although you might make me cry. But you know, what would you tell me? We'll do some role playing, see if anybody will answer. But um, what would you say to me? If you were my friend, what would you say to me? Mm. Sometimes we have to go through a lot of difficult things in order to learn to love ourselves, and um, we have to go through a lot of different challenges to get there to see, to everything. So nobody's probably going to answer the question, and that's perfectly fine. You wouldn't offend me. I'm sure you wouldn't offend Charles, but that's perfectly fine. So anyway, I'll just say it. So if my friend came to me and said, hey Gina, I'm fat and ugly. Um, I exactly. Thank you, Anna. Um, I would say to them, no, you're not. You're beautiful. Um, and you are not fat. You need to treat yourself the same way that you would treat a friend. I'm not going to say family because we have some schmucky family members. So I would say treat yourself like you would treat your family. Or sorry, I just count. I literally just screwed that up. Sorry. Treat yourself like you would your friend, not your family. And so you need to counteract that type of stuff. That's where it starts coming in. So when you treat yourself like a friend, then you know how to talk to yourself. You would be more compassionate, you're more empathetic, you would offer more kindness. That's what you need when you start setting boundaries. And so the boundary setting is when you start realizing your true worth. What is your value? How much nonsense, how much criticism, how much junk are you willing to absorb and allow people to spew on you before you put your hand up and say no or walk away? And it's very hard for people to do that because one, they don't like confrontation, and two, they don't like the word no. You don't have to use the word no by walking away. You have every right and every authority to walk away from anybody, whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend, whether it's some Joe Schmo off the street. You should never have to take any negativity, any criticism, anything in a negative form. You do not have to take that. So walking away and being the bigger and better person, absolutely. Walk away. Let them talk. Let them. You know what? You don't owe anybody an explanation. I used to explain myself to everybody, everybody. And now I'm getting to the point that, you know what? I don't need to explain my life to you anymore. If I'm late, I'm late. I don't need to tell you why I was late. If I'm doing this, you know what? That's fine. With my clients, it's different, because 99% of the time, 99.9% of the time, I'm not late. You can even ask Sly. You can ask my daughter. She's on here. Time used to be, I hated, like I didn't even care. I would show up to doctor's appointments, a half hour late and wonder why they wouldn't see me. And then I would get mad. I would get mad why they wouldn't see me and things like that. And so, time is very precious. The older you get, time is very precious. And so we don't need to listen to other people's garbage. And exactly what Sly says, I'm not going to read what that says, but if you know what that says, then you know what that says. And so, that's exactly right. And so, if you don't like the word no, just being able to walk away. And so when you walk away, when you're setting those healthy boundaries and you're walking into, a dysfunctional family or just a family that I don't even want to say dysfunctional because your family doesn't have to be dysfunctional. You could just have, schmucky relatives, schmucky parents. I don't know. And yes, I know Sly Fox. I just wasn't going to put it up there. People, I'm sure know what it meant, but if they don't, I guess you do now. And so, people don't always have to be dysfunctional, but you can have, schmucky relatives. And so, listening to your nervous system, listening to what's happening within your nervous system. And, when you go in, if you do get together with family over the holidays and things are starting to go sour and they're starting to go south. How long is it that you sit with that dysregulation? And the dysregulating feeling normally starts within the stomach. Well, that's me anyway. You kind of get like this sick feeling or this feeling of, okay, like I need to leave. I need to do something. The longer you sit in that, the worse off you're going to be. Highly recommend that you do not stay in that for just a couple minutes. And then if you have to go outside, if you have to go into a different room, if you have to leave permanently, that's perfectly fine too. Well, what ends up happening is for some reason, I don't know. So what's happening is my internet keeps going in and out for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why all of a sudden I'm having issues. And so that's probably where the vibration, it's probably my microphone. That's probably why. when you pulled in the driveway earlier, it was interesting because when you pulled in the driveway earlier, my internet like really started going nuts. So it started going in and out on me, in and out. So that's probably what it is. So I apologize. It probably is Spectrum. Even though I have the business class, it's supposed to be, really good, but hey, whatever. I'm here. Um, so I do apologize. So do you guys have any questions? Scott, did that kind of help you? I'm hoping. And how to do boundaries, really working on yourself, and slowly incorporating and implementing boundaries that you can set with people. And so the first one that I did when I had to set boundaries was how much garbage I was going to allow in. That was I think the one thing for me is, I can listen, but when I feel myself dissociating, it's time to be like right before I hit that mark. I know that I need to walk away. And one of the biggest key points for me too, that so I've been on this healing journey for what, 3 years? Yeah. And when my daughter and I went back to Massachusetts, where I'm from, in August, we had a wonderful 5 days. And one of the things that I noticed, because I'm more aware now, was I didn't want to say anything to my family. And finally, I said something to my mom. I said something to my older brother and things like that. And is my middle brother, him and we don't have a very good relationship. And throughout the years, we just grown apart. We grew up more like, we're not even friends. Like, we're not even siblings. I'm just going to put it like that. Like, we don't have a sibling relationship. And so when we get together, he's more of the, we're just going to say in the nice way, there's a lot of dysfunction in my family. So anyway, when we went back in August, we sat at a table with him. He was very, he was lit. Like, I don't even know. I always say like three sheets to the wind, and like he was done for. And I was very proud of myself. Although I sat there because I was with my entire family, my mom, dad, well, you can say it, yes. And my other brother, my sister-in-law, and we were having a good time. But normally the old Gina, I would have started screaming and hollering, and I would have probably came unglued, especially the things he was saying to my daughter, and things like that, and just the things he said to my dad. And but I didn't. And so I could have got up and I could have walked away. But I chose not to allow what he was doing to affect me. Although my nervous system felt it, because I wanted to run. I wanted to run away. And so, after that, on the way home, I told my mom, like, I can't be around him. I tried. I just can't. Well, give him the benefit of the doubt. I said, you know what? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because I know he was drinking. I'll see if, so we went out to dinner the following evening, and he was better. And so I started realizing where the connection was coming from. And the connection and the boundary is that I don't need to be around drunk people. I don't need to be around him per se, because there's a lot of things that he's dealing with that I don't need. And but what I started realizing is that there was a lot of things that I seen in my childhood surrounding alcohol. Alcohol ruined my family. That's my belief anyway. And so it brought back a lot of things for me in that moment. And so my boundary is that when we go back, I am in control of who I want to see, who I want to be around, who I want to associate with, and all of that stuff. And although it might tick some people off, there are certain family members that, unfortunately, I don't need to sit at the same table with, because I don't need anything stabbed in my back. And so, why, if you're going to do it behind my back, I don't need to sit at a table with you while you're doing it too. That's just the way I feel. And so, I've come a long way because I would let them walk all over me, and I just don't anymore. So I've learned to really, there's some things I keep my mouth shut. There's some things I run my mouth, some things I shouldn't run my mouth about, because, but sometimes I can't help that. So my voice was kind of shut, I believe, at one time. And like I've, talked before, we all have inner children. There's a part of our inner children, and I have this 16-year-old or a teenage part. And yes, you're right. And so, I don't even know her age. I'm just throwing out 16, but I have this teenager part, and she rebels about, with a lot of things. And then I have a younger part, that's probably about 5 or 6. And so I'm learning to help those parts of me heal. Um, and so that's another thing to look at too, is, as you go through this holiday season, as you go through the winter months, what can you learn from these things? What are your inner children telling you? And how can you look at your adult self today and go back and talk to your younger self, and give them the love and comfort that they need, and going back to where you are. Um and it's, kind of the same. I mean, and it's even for, like, the military or veterans and things like that too. It's, you know, um, just going back and just offering that compassion, that empathy, that kindness, compassion, empathy, grace, and, allowing yourself in the moment, as talking to yourself as you would a friend. So I'm hoping that offers, some type of things, to help you through, with your mental health and things like that, through the winter months. As hopefully they'll fly by and we don't have to worry about it. And maybe we won't get as much snow, or maybe it won't be so cold. I know, here in Ohio, I know we're going to get snow. Hope not. But we've been very fortunate with our weather. It's been, I think it was like 61 today. So, it hasn't been very cold. But I know that the cold weather is coming. Usually by now it's a lot colder, but we're very fortunate, to be able to still get out and do things like that too. So, do we have any questions? Anything else you would like to? Yeah, I know. That's why I said it's calling for snow. And one thing that, I knew there was another thing, and as I was kind of scrolling through things, let me see. Another thing that I wanted to discuss too, just so you know, and a lot of people, um, and so I knew that this existed, but I had forgot what it was actually called, and then it kind of came to my attention, and it's called seasonal affective disorder. It's called SAD, SAD, and this is actually not a different diagnosis. It's actually a form of depression. And so that's another reason that I wanted to be able to offer some type of self-care, compassion, and just support, because we're all going through challenging times right now, especially with what's going on in the world, our government, what's going on with all of us individually. And so I wanted to be able to offer that. But it is, sad, the seasonal affective disorder is a real thing. And so if you notice, different things that are happening, like, if you're sad, anxious, you have empty feelings, if you feel like you're oversleeping, overeating, um, you have weight gain, difficulty sleeping, um, those are all things that actually come. And so why you won't feel them, or you won't have any of the signs or symptoms in the warmer month, is because you usually start having them as and as fall, we start turning into fall and into winter and things like that too. So and so just be cautious. I just really want you to be mindful of your mental health. Reach out to people if you really are struggling. I want you to know that there are people out there that care like myself, and reach out to anybody that you can, that would really support you and things like that, and to help you through a lot of the challenges that we face going through the winter months and things like that too. So yeah, well, we could, because we need to send all of the snow to Caro. I think we can do it. Well, you can. I mean, what are you going to do? Ship it to her? Sure, absolutely. Um, so anybody have any questions? Any questions, comments, concerns, anything? Sorry, my nose is driving me nuts. Would make our winter, huh? Well, don't they get snow down there or no? Or does it usually like stay? Really? Yeah, that's what I wondered. No wonder why you want to move down there and then you can fish year round. Can you, if we move down that area, can you imagine what our accents would be like? And if I got a Bostonian Ohioan, um, we'd move down there, we'd really have that southern accent. My nose is driving me nuts. Sorry, guys. I think that's one of my trigger responses, trauma responses when I start talking. I think it's one of those things when I start doing my lives and then my nose drives me absolutely crazy. It's like, oh, I just want to knock it off sometimes. Things like that. So, well, then send her all the snow that you can. Make you a snow machine and send it to her. So, yeah, you only want to move there so we can go fishing all the time. Right? You're welcome, Scott. Boundaries is a really good topic. So I'm glad you mentioned that one because it really goes with kind of the theme of what we're talking about and stuff like that too. So taking care of yourself and things like that. So, oh, I'm sure it is beautiful there and things like that too. So maybe one day. Nothing else. So, you guys staying home for Thanksgiving? Are you going somewhere for Thanksgiving? Um, what's your plans for Thanksgiving? So, our plans usually include, like I said, we'll get a. Well, you're going somewhere. You're going somewhere for Thanksgiving. Where are you going? Yeah, yeah, he's got secondary goals. All right. I told him he should have took all those smarts that he has and made and did something. We were talking about Bitcoin the other day, not to change the topic. Sorry, everyone, but we were talking about Bitcoin the other day. And I think like, must have been like 2000, 2001, he was introduced to Bitcoin. And of course, nobody knew what Bitcoin was back then. And, and, uh, and you're going somewhere to eat as many devil eggs as you can. Well, good luck. I don't know where we're going. Um, and so we were talking about it, and I was like, it's one of those things like nobody knew about it. And he's like, yeah, imagine how much we would have made. And so if we would have bought Bitcoin back in like 2002, well, it would have been like 2001 or so, 2002, we would have been like billionaires. And I was just like, man, like 27 billion if we would have kept our Bitcoin. And I was like, man, I guess it just wasn't in our cards to be rich, which is perfectly fine. But, if you have secondary goals and you want to live in a place on Mountain Ridge, Jack, I mean, that sounds pretty fancy. I don't know, you better up your game. I just keep praying for more clients, and so, waiting for God to do his thing and things like that too. So, I can start getting more clients by golly. Yeah, I might consider moving. So, yeah, Scott, we're staying home too. What do you usually cook? Like turkey fixings? What do you guys do? So usually for us, just depends. We may do like a rib roast and have rib eyes because it's just us. Usually it's just Charles and I, and then our two youngest. My daughter usually goes to her boyfriends, and then of course the other two boys are out with their families doing their own thing. So I don't even know what they're doing. Um, and then we don't really fix a whole lot. I don't like doing the dishes, and so when Sly cooks, I'm the one that has to do the dishes. I'm his dishwasher, and so I kind of hate doing the dishes. That's just one of those things that I don't like doing, honestly. But I do them. But I probably gripe and complain, as my son says. So yeah, well, good. So we'll see. And so I mean, I'll be back. I think what next Thanksgiving is next Thursday, so you'll see me next Monday. I don't know what topic we'll be talking about, but we'll be there. Um, Sexy dishwasher. You're crazy, but thanks. Um, and Michael's traveling to Connecticut. Wonderful. So we I was trying to think. I was like, yeah, we haven't traveled like in the winter back to Massachusetts. That'd be the only way. I don't know. Did we? So I don't think we ever did. We never went to Memphis over any holiday, did we? I think we just went in what, summer. I don't know. I don't think we ever did, but um, so we just normally stay home, just do what we got to do. Oh yeah, we did. That was the last time. Yeah, that's right. So in 2017, we did. That's right. We went to Massachusetts for Turkey Day, and that was a disaster. So, so we have learned over the years just to stay home. It's better that way. So, all right. If you guys don't have any questions or anything like that, or anything else you'd like to discuss, um, I won't. Um, I won't keep you. Well, that's good self care there. Camping in Vermont. That's a really good, really good self care moment there too. Really get out in nature. That's huge. Um, so yeah, I'll go glamping, but I don't know about camping. You might see me glamping, but I don't know. I've never really. I can't say I never camped because when I was younger, we did, but as an adult, we're going camping. Oh, you want us to go camping in Vermont? Oh, well, I mean, yeah, we could. Um, See, we could all get together and go camping, glamping, whatever, whatever we want to do. But I remember sleeping in the I believe it was my dad's van and stuff like that. We went and things like that. So it wasn't really, I guess it was camping, but things like that too. Um, so uh, I've never been to Vermont, I don't believe, but um, I'm sure it's beautiful. Oh, new camper, huh? So she's gonna go camping. Yep. I honestly have no desire. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know. I just don't have no desire to camp. I'd probably have to start in my backyard and just start slow and make progress. So, and kind of see, but who knows? We'll see what happens. Does she fish? Is that why she got a camper? Maybe she's going to start doing like solo travel, like one of our past guests, Jen. She's a solo traveler, so maybe she's going to get out there and maybe she's going to start solo traveling and fishing and whatever she likes to do. I wouldn't even want to do that. Like, I mean, it would be nice to drive around and kind of do that type of stuff for like your self care and healing. But man, I'll tell you what, when we flew to Massachusetts, it was like an hour and a half. But okay, the plane ride was an hour and a half. But yes, we had to be there like an hour and a half before. Um, and but like I said, I will never drive to Massachusetts unless I absolutely have to, because that's like 14, 15 hours of pure hell. Like if I can hop on a plane and I'm on the plane for an hour and a half, you know what? Yeah, of course, you have to take your travel time and the time you're in the airport and stuff like that. And unfortunately, where we live, a direct flight, I have to drive to Columbus. So yes, it's 2 hours. Then it's an hour and a half, and so yes, by the time you sit there and you do, yeah, so you do have 6 hours, but still 6 hours versus 14, 15 hours. I'm like, I'd rather do that. Well, good for her. I'm glad she gets out and does her camping and everything. That's cool. I love that she does that for herself. And that they all do that together. That's cool. I love that. Um, I know there's a lady here that she's trying to start different groups and things like that too, and she's local to me, and so they do every year they do a like a camp out, and it's always like I think it's always like the last weekend of September, I believe it is, and so I would love to be able to go to that and just kind of camp and all that stuff, but I don't like pew pew, and so they do a lot of that, and I just have a lot of things around that, and so unfortunately, I've the last 2 years I've just not gone. But now she said they're gonna do things on different days. So they're gonna have like a fishing camp out for females. They're gonna do archery for females, and so it's actually pretty nice. So it'd be nice. I mean, it's only like 15 minutes from me, 15, 20 minutes from where I'm at. So that'll be something maybe. But I really need to start looking at camping in my own yard and stuff like that. Because I've always told Sly I'd love to be able to start living off the land and living off the grid. And so you're really gonna have to live off the land, and you have to know what you're doing. So what better way, right? So, oh, she goes for 2 weeks. Good for her. That's a good getaway. So that's really good. So where are you at now, Michael? Where do you live? What state do you live in? New York. Ah, okay. So not too far from us, actually. So I don't know if you're anywhere near Buffalo, but Buffalo is 7 hours from us, where we are. Driving through New York is the worst. We have to literally go through the whole entire state to get to Massachusetts. That is the worst. I'm like, oh my golly, it dread. It just drags and drags and drags. So how many fish we'll kind of because not that I'm not turning this into it, but I'm just curious, how many fish did you guys catch for your fishing season, for whatever the fishing thing is? um yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So I'll tell you a little bit of yeah, the catch 22. How many fish did you guys catch for that if you entered it? So it was interesting because I like outdoors. I do like fishing. Um, and so I'll tell you a little bit of a funny. I like um, catfish. I like catfishing. I'm always very heavy-handed, and so I'm always like slinging my rod. So I do have a very, excuse me. I think I have like a what is it, a 7, 8 foot heavy. So obviously, I'm not taking that to go bass fishing, obviously. But when you get used to slinging that thing clear out in the middle of the pond, it's like, man. So um, I got in on the Catch 22 because I believe in the mission and helping other people and stuff like that too. And it's like, it gives me some time to spend with my husband, and because that's what he likes to do, and of course get the kids out there and stuff like that. If you've probably seen my post on Gramps, when he's on lives or on Jermaine and things like that too. But See, you caught a good amount. Good for you, Scott. So I caught a big fat zero, big fat zero. And so I don't know what I was doing wrong, but I just cannot. It was like they would come and then I would try to get them on the hook, and boom, nothing. But of course, you got Sly Fox that's sitting right next to me, and guess who catches them all? Him. So finally, I got irritated, and I was just like, I'm done. Like, this fishing stuff is so stupid, and I was like, I'm done. Like, I was just getting so irritated. But what I discovered was this. This is why I was getting irritated, and why it finally dawned on me, like after I kind of settled down and stuff like that. It's not even so much about going and catching, as you guys know. I mean, you guys already know this, but for me, it was like, it's not even about going and catching, but it's about just being out in nature, just being out and in the peace of nature, listening to the birds and the fish flop and the water just kind of the ripples in the water and the waves and coming in and stuff like that too, and just being in the nature. It's just it's very relaxing. But I was caught up in the moment of trying to catch a fish, which kind of deterred me from trying to set out to do what fishing is supposed to do, and that's more of the relaxation aspect of it. And so I didn't catch anything. I ended up switching rods with Sly Fox, and lo and behold, 2 seconds after I switched, what did he catch? A fish. So finally, I was just like, if these fishing rods weren't that much money, I would have broke it over my head and been done. But um, it can be peaceful. Not when it's 110 degrees with humidity out. Absolutely not. That was torture. But I'd like to go again next year and try some different things and really see if I can up my game and really start learning about different things and um, the different fishing lures and what ones to use, because I'm really, really, really a beginner, and Sly has helped me. But so yeah, so I didn't catch any. He caught one. Um, but other than that, like for me anyway, like but I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. So fishing is a really good thing. Um so good for you, Scott. I'm glad that you got a kayak and you got your trailer and you're gonna, eventually get everything set up. That way there next year you'll be good to go and start getting out there and really get out there and get on the water and things like that too. So yeah, Carol did come. She did come. I really had some good conversation with her and her husband Jay. He's funny. But we did have, a really good conversation. Fortunately, I don't think she caught anything either. Maybe I don't think she did. But it was really nice. So, but I just like to check in because I know they all like their fishing and things like that too. So, um, and then of course it's too cold here now to even think about going fishing. Really, I think over the next few months, kind of scoping out different areas and looking at maps and trying to figure out uh, where we can, where there are different public places that we can fish, public ponds and things like that, or public areas that we can fish and really get out there, because I do enjoy it. So it is part of like the trauma informed movement, because there is movement that you're doing and things like that too. So um, yeah. So thank you, everybody. There's no other questions or anything like that or anything, but I appreciate each and every one of you being here. Like I say it all the time, week after week. Your presence means a lot to me. Your interactions, your questions, just some of your comments too. Those mean a lot to me as well. Again, if you would please like and share the live. I would really appreciate it, because it really helps me to get out there. And, you never know who's going to be able to see it, and kind of reach some other trauma survivors that really need some more support. So, yeah, well, Well, I mean, you could always take your fishing rod and throw it in, and there you go. Well, the good thing is, Scott, at least you have it in an apartment and it's on a stand where there's heat. And so now you'll be able to work on it over the winter. And so you don't have to worry about being outside and, in the winter and working on it. At least you'll have it inside. Um, and you'll be able to work on it. And then by springtime, it'll be ready and you guys will be all geared up and ready to go. So, yeah, you do. You need to get it in there instead of having it sit out. So, um, I have to start clearing out some of that stuff too for you so you can start getting it in there as well. So, yep. So thank you everyone for being here. Yes, Scott, that is funny. It is. Oh, goodness. Yes, I know, Sly, if you started fishing, work would be done, so that's a good thing. Although I'm sure, you probably have fishing stuff in your truck. I don't even know, you might not. Thank you, Scott. It's always a pleasure having you on and seeing you, here. So again, if there's anything I can do for you, anybody else, just reach out. I'd be more than happy to help in any way that I can. Um, the next Monday, I'm not exactly sure what we'll do for next Monday, but I will come up with kind of a topic that we can kind of talk about. Maybe we can talk about fishing. Maybe we can talk about the outdoors. No, I don't want to do that. Then everybody will be itching about trying to get out in the wintertime. We'll be like, oh my goodness. No, we'll save that for another time. I'll figure out. Well, that's good that, at least you're mindful of that, you don't have your rods in your truck because you know exactly what would happen. So I'm glad that you are mindful of that and things like that. So, um, but yeah, again, thank you everyone for being here. I hope what we discussed, does make, I was going to say does make sense, but, does help you carry you through the holiday season, and check in is another thing, really quick, checking in with everybody. If you need a check-in buddy and somebody just to check in every once in a while, you know what, don't hesitate to ask. I know that goes a part of, asking and things like that. But there's a lot of us out there that would check in and just to make sure you're all right. What do you need? Offer, some encouragement. See you later. Whatever we need. So but again, I appreciate each and every one of you for being here and taking your Monday evening to be here with me. Next week, again, I'm not sure of the topic, but I'll come up with a topic that we can discuss, kind of have, some interaction and things like that too. So I pray that each and every one of you have a safe and blessed week. And, and as we go into the holiday seasons and those that struggle with mental health and some other issues and things like that, I'll be praying for each and every one of you as well and things like that. So thank you for being here. And I will see each and every one of you. I will see each and every one of you next week. I'll see each and every one of you next week. Of course, it wants to lag all the time. So have a good evening, everyone. Good night.